What up? What's happening? Que lo que miente. Welcome to Love, Purpose, and Passports. Hope all is well and all are passport ready, a passport getting ready. For those of you that don't know, I am Mr. Pro for you, living in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, with this beautiful wife of mine, Miss Pro for you.
Hello.
How you doing today, Miss Pro?
I'm doing great, Warren. How are you today?
I'm doing good.
Good morning.
You know, see, the thing is today, we have a topic that we don't really want to get as hyped as usual because, I mean, you know, it is involving, you know, something serious. So I'm just going to look over here a little bit.
Oh.
A little bit, okay?
Today we're going to talk about what can happen when you buy your house or apartment in the Dominican Republic.
As we mentioned before the transition, this is based on an actual situation. A Dominican guy, he's from Santo Domingo here in La Capital, what he went through.
Punta Cana has been known as an up-and-coming city on the island for a very long time now. We think about the beautiful resorts and the luxury tropical lifestyles that foreigners would love. They would love to own a piece of this.
They would, you know, but the thing is, Dominicans that live here, you know, in other parts of the island, they see Punta Cana as, you know, a place for better jobs, better opportunities, better pay.
Now, this is where this guy's story or nightmare begins. So he moved to Punta Cana from La Capital and he secured a very good job. The man is an engineer. And he also settled into a very nice location where he happened to be renting.
And he, as most Dominicans, dreamed of owning his own house, you know, in a nice area. And he was finally in the position to start looking.
So he ended up finding a very good project that he was able to get in early on in a nice residencial in Punta Cana for about $80K US.
So in our previous real estate video about scams here in the DR, we talked about how you get a better deal, a better price when you get in early.
Now, we want to make sure this is not a scam video, okay?
No.
This is about what can happen after you purchase your property and you've received everything and things have gone smoothly.
Yep. So what we mentioned to you is that it's common for the finish date to be extended. You know, these are some of the risks of getting in early, but you're also saving thousands of dollars with that risk.
And this is exactly what happened to him. Well, the beginning of a series of things that started happening to this poor man. So his finish date, the date that he was supposed to move in, went over a year of the date that they were supposed to, like originally say that they were supposed to give him the home where he could move in. And I mean, yeah, he was bothered by it, right? But I mean, and you would be too, even if you saved a few $1,000s. What's the use of saving a few $1,000s if now you got to pay this extra money for the inconvenience cost?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's already expensive enough, you know, when you got to transfer your family from one location, one house to the next house. Imagine planning your move and letting your landlord know your move date. Then when the time comes to make your move on that date, not ready.
Not only was it not ready, but now you have to ask your landlord from the place where you're living at before if you could stay a little bit longer. And then like, but how much longer? You know, you really don't have anything set that you could tell him. And then, so what if he's being strung on from like month after month after month after month? I mean, imagine every month you're being told, oh, no, it's going to be next month. Oh, it's going to be next month. And before you know it, a year has passed. Hey, a quick thing. You know, we have a friend that happened to. I mean, it didn't happen to him for a whole year. But I remember he was so enthusiastic and he was so ready to move into this location. And his whole family was excited. And they had moved like part of the stuff that they were supposed to move. And something happened that they weren't able to move the rest of them, and the place wasn't ready, and then so they had to go back and tell the landlord. But here's the thing, the landlord had already had these construction people that were getting ready to go in and make some updates or upgrades to the apartment where they were at.
Yep.
So it just caused a whole series of like events that made everyone behind on schedule. It was uncomfortable for him. It cost him so much money.
Exactly. And I mean, we don't know if that's exactly what happened to him, that, you know, they strung him along month after month for the whole year, but there's a good possibility that that's exactly what happened. You know, we don't see him just, you know, up and give him a call and saying, yeah, Mr. Such and Such, you know, your property won't be ready for another year.
Right.
You know, and so
imagine trying to juggle that, moving from outside the country into the island. That's crazy. You know, it's very uncomfortable. It's a frustrating situation that could easily end up costing you thousands of dollars, money that you saved.
Imagine that. You got in early to save all this money, then your property's not ready and you coming from the States. You sold things, put things in storage, you know, let them know that, look, we out of here.
Yeah.
You got kids out, you took the kids out of school, ready to make that move, and for another year?
Wow.
Can't even imagine how much of an inconvenience that would be. And you just wouldn't expect that to happen. Not to that extent, you know, like, you know, a few days, couple weeks at the most, but a year?
That's just not reasonable.
That's when you start being like, dang, what's wrong? Angry every day. Like, you know, you had your go face on for like maybe the first month. But after that, you keep calling. Are they ready yet? Is it ready yet? And they keep saying, no, it'll be ready next month. Don't worry, we got you. For a year. So they finally ready, probably excited, ready to move in. The electricity isn't on. And when he goes to the electric company, he finds out that somehow the address isn't even showing up in the electric company system. The developers, whatever they're supposed to do, hadn't registered or filed whatever paperwork yet to notify them, you know, that this new project is, you know, basically online, you know, people moving in, you know, or maybe they hadn't done it on time. You know, that's a good possibility too. But he had to go through a major headache with the electric company trying to get the electricity connected.
But hey, the house is his. This is not a scam. This is just a little bit of the patience the DR requires to get things done, right, mi amor?
Yeah, DR patience.
Lord. Huh? Well, it was more than just the customer service patience thing that he needed. You know, they not only hadn't finished the electrical infrastructure in the house, but it also created him other problems with like hooking up his AC. And I mean, even when the electricity was finally on, they still had connection issues that they didn't figure. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of things that they didn't finish doing before they were supposed to give him the home.
Yep.
This is disorganized.
Crazy. And they also mentioned that the water that comes into the house through the pipes, it wasn't treated.
That's the worst.
You know, as it should be.
That's the worst.
You know, meaning the filtration wasn't what it should be. You know, of course, we already know that you can't drink the water, but it still goes through a filtration treatment, you know, to keep the parasites, keep the bacteria down.
The gentleman, he didn't get into like too many details about it, and he didn't talk about it, but you know that when you're dealing with like showering or swimming in bad water, things like that, stuff that's not treated, you know, you can develop like these little, I don't know, like these little blotches, these little patches, or like funguses that you could get, or like rashes and stuff on your skin.
Yeah, we got that before at a resort.
We did, didn't we?
Was it the pool water or something like that?
We don't really know. We think
we got home.
Pool water.
We had a good time. We got home. Next thing is like, what's that on your face?
I'm like, what's that on your face? Yeah.
We got blotches. Yeah. So, you know, in your own home, at least we knew it was the resort, you know what I mean? But imagine that, you know, you taking showers, and we don't know. He didn't go into detail about all the things that happened, but he did say the water was not treated as it should be, the water that was coming into the house. So that could have been, you know, another thing. So
uncomfortable.
Yes.
Can you imagine your babies, you not being able to shower your babies, getting sick?
Wow. So, I mean, this is a timeline, and over time, those things were eventually fixed. And now he's living in his house. You know, families, they're doing their, you know, daily things that families do. They're living, you know. And it's like, you know, when you first move into your dream come true, it's supposed to be a time of happiness and comfort, peace and tranquility.
Yeah, like when we first moved into our place, we were so excited. You know, it was a dream come true because moving into a new place, like, you know, represents this new chapter, this successful chapter in your life, right? And the old place where you were at, it kind of like runs its course. Like you're ready, you're over it.
Yep. Just a memory in the background. You know, you kind of like every day getting up like, we finally
this
made
is
it.
Nice.
Yeah. But the good old days. It's still the good old days though. It's still nice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this was not the case for this gentleman. And unfortunately, this is not the case for many people that end up in this situation. Does it happen to everybody? No.
But the thing is, mi amor, these are residenciales. They're gated communities. So when it's a problem for you, it's a problem for everyone else in the gated community, for everyone that either bought a home or is renting there. So hundreds of units built over time can turn your dream home life into you kind of asking yourself like, man, what did we get ourselves into?
I'm telling you.
What are we going to do now?
I mean, you know, we've had little things go wrong here, but, you know, we count our blessings. But imagine, you know, you bought your new house and I mean, it's just been things happening and it's like a never ending story.
Haven't been able to enjoy it.
Nope. Now you just kind of feeling like, you know, I know there are days that they feel like, well, let's look on the bright side, you know, but this situation, Lord help them. So we gave you some tips in one of our previous videos about checking out your place, how to check out your place before you move in. You know, one of the tips was to check the condition of the neighborhood when it rains. What we mean by that is flooding happens here.
Yeah.
It's normal, but for some neighborhoods, it's much worse than others.
Yeah, that's easier said than done because like when you're looking to move into a new place, sometimes you don't necessarily have the time to wait for it to like rain really hard and then drive around and see like what's going on in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't ask around, right?
Yeah.
In his situation, in the gentleman that we're reviewing, it was literally a new development. I mean, there's nobody to ask. They just made it. There was no one around him. It was it was almost like a little city. So, you know, you wouldn't be able to ask anybody, oh, how does this location handle rain? You know, how is this area when it's rain? Yeah, they just got there too. Exactly.
And the thing is, like, especially coming from the States, you would never think that would be a possibility. You would be wrong. It wasn't just a possibility, it was a reality.
So the road into the residenciales, it flooded really bad. And then the flooding would, I guess, weaken the roads over time. And what happened was now it would cause like these large, I guess like sinkholes, you would kind of call them, right?
Yeah.
And then those holes would fill with water.
Yep.
You know, the man in the video describes it as like he was driving and he was in the moon driving over like big moon craters. That's kind of what he was describing it as.
And I've seen those, I've been in those craters before, but let me tell you, it's a big problem because so when it's not raining, you know, those big craters get hard and they will tear your car up, you know, when it's not raining. When it is raining, you can't see them, you drive into it and you get stuck in a storm in the hole. You done flooded, water jumped up in your car and flooded your battery or your alternator or something. Now your car won't start or anything can happen because they're craters.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the worst of it. Whenever it rained longer than an hour or two, the unthinkable happened. The house flooded. Imagine being scammed which is bad enough. You lost 15, 20,000 on the property. You felt like your dream was ripped away. I mean, an empty, terrible feeling. You don't know where how you going to get that back? How you going to put it back? You're not getting it back. Then you find out the people that spent 80,000 on the property got one of the houses that you wanted, that you tried to get. You find out that they're being flooded, that their houses inside the house are literally being flooded whenever it rains longer than an hour or two.
I mean, sometimes you have to count our blessings and know that it could have been worse. I mean, much, much worse.
I don't even know how you begin to deal with house flooding. I'm just a little gringo that moved over here, to the Dominican Republic, that kind of thing right there, all the cussing and, I mean, here's the thing. You bought that house. You can't even move and rent the house out to someone without you becoming the bad guy.
Right.
Imagine you're going to rent out a house that floods to someone.
Right.
You can't sell it without telling the buyer that the house floods, or if you don't tell them, you're just as bad as the people who created that situation. Let's talk about roads in the DR. It's not like the States where the city will regularly repair cracked streets. And some of you say, well, they don't repair it regularly. Compared to here, they repair it regularly. The streets will be repaired here eventually, but it's not always repaired how you are used to the streets being repaired.
In some cases here, the neighborhood, the people from the neighborhood they'll collect money from within the neighborhood, and then they'll also collect money from the drivers that frequent that same road. And they put money together and they fix the road themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've seen that.
We have plenty of times. We had this shortcut, right, that we used to always take. And I mean, it's weird because it'll start off a little, just a little, little bump, try to drive around it or whatever. The next thing is like a boom, boom. Kind of drive around it. The next thing you notice, it's getting harder and harder to drive around this thing, but over time, you realize that you really can't even take the street anymore.
Yeah.
We've had several shortcuts, like you can't take the shortcut no more. It's tearing up the car.
Ruined.
Yeah, so you got to find another shortcut, and then after a while, you realize that a lot of these shortcuts, they have about a 5-month
lifespan. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about a 5-month lifespan. Then you got to find another one and then creep around maybe in a couple months and check it out again. But by that time, you're using your other shortcut that you found. Mm-hmm. So when he said it's like driving through craters on the moon, that is actually how certain poorly made streets can deteriorate, and like we said, in 5 or 6 months, But when it's the main road into your community that you have to take to get to your house, that puts a different strain on your quality of life.
Yeah. So in this case, it turns out that he and the other neighbors in the residencial had to put up their own money to fix the roads, or to have the roads paved. That's how you say it.
Yeah.
And I know this probably sounds like unbelievable to a lot of people that are watching the video, but I mean, it doesn't sound unbelievable to us. That's actually pretty common, right? I mean, to us, it sounds like a terrible situation that this poor guy had to endure. We don't even know what the solution to his problem is right now.
No, that's too many things.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, when we took our shortcut, we pulled up one day, everybody was out there, and they had their little collection cup, and came up to the window light. Guess what? We take that shortcut every day, and we respect being able to. We contributed, and guess what they did? They went and got cement and rocks,
they fixed the road,
and dirt, and they fixed it themselves. Yeah. You got to make it happen the best way you can. I've never seen that before, but you really want to contribute to something like that. And you and then here's the thing, you're appreciative of it.
Wait. He said he never seen anything like that before. What I recall is that we were going through the shortcut And he was looking around like, what's going on around here? Why is everybody standing? I was like, no,
walking up to the
amor,
window, like,
no, mi amor, what's happening is, calm down, what's happening is. And then I explained to him what was going on.
Up to our window.
But it was cool.
Nah,
he rolled the windows down.
They were cool.
Yeah. They became friends, and it was cool.
Yeah, I was,
For a minute, it wasn't cool. For a minute,
in the hood, you in the hood. You taking little shortcuts mean you cutting through the hood. That's a shortcut.
Yeah.
You're on the main street, that's not a shortcut. Cutting through the hood, so still got to be on point. But it turns out they were doing the right thing for the right thing. And here's the thing, you appreciate it.
Yeah.
They fixed it, and you kind of said, man, that's the kind of thing that when you've never seen that before, it kind of touches you in a different way, because it's not too often that you really see the community come together to try to make some specific things better that everybody has to use or whatever. Never seen that before, so I really respected that. And so, as we were saying about this gentleman, a lot of these things he had to go through, a lot of those things were normal by themselves, but to have to experience all these things back to back is really what makes this such a sad story.
Yeah. Sometimes you need to be aware of some of the things that can happen when you buy or you rent in a residencial or a gated community. There's something called mantenimiento, or a maintenance fee. Right, and that's basically a fee that you pay for like the upkeep of the area, the grounds, right?
Yep. He says they were charging his maintenance fee based on the square footage of his house. Just so you know, that's not really the norm. I don't know if that's something new that they're doing. If it's something specific to Punta Cana, we never heard of that before, right?
No.
I mean, because usually it's based on the amenities of the residencial.
Right.
But that's not the real problem. Have you noticed everything we tell you is like, but there's more. The real problem is that over time, the quality of maintenance can begin to slide. Things like repairs begin to take longer. Trash may not be collected as regularly as it should. And that's a whole different issue in itself when they're not picking up the trash. And street lights, it's a gated community, a residenciales, so they have their own street lights in there. The street lights go out, they may not repair the street lights for a long time, if at all.
Right. So this poor man, he contacted the people in charge, and he told them, angrily, look, I'm not gonna continue to pay this mantenimiento fee unless you get things together. Enough is enough. So the administration then sent him a letter stating that if he and the others, because he wasn't the only one that was going through this, obviously all the other people were going through it, and they said the same thing. They said, if you and the others don't pay the mantenimiento fee, there's going to be consequences. There's going to be a reduction in staffing and security. We're going to reduce the frequency of the cleaning, of the cleanliness. We're going to turn off the lights in non-critical areas. Can you believe that?
Non-critical areas. We don't know what that means. That could be in the what they call it, the little multi-purpose areas. That could be the street lights that, and thing that could be, there's so many things that when you live in a gated community that have the electricity that's on the outside that,
basically everything.
Yeah.
Basically everything, So they said that there was also going to be a reduction of the landscaping and pest control. They go around and they spray for like mosquitoes.
Exterminating,
make sure, And then you landscape, just the grass and cleaning of the areas.
Yeah.
And they said, and this is the worst, they said there was going to be less water and less electricity distribution. So you're not going to give me water and electricity?
Yeah. You tell them, look, I'm not going to be able to make this payment. They say, oh, okay, well, we're just going to turn everything off because we won't be able to afford to pay, the people that keep that up, even though the people weren't keeping it up.
Exactly. You weren't doing what you were supposed to do in the first place. So this man is finding himself in a situation.
And it's like, so what do? Do you make the payment or not make the payment?
There were more things that happened in this story, and yes, this is a true story of a guy who bought property in Punta Cana. Is this the outcome of the majority of purchases or rental homes or apartments out there? No, of course not. But it does happen.
It does happen, and we're just sharing this with you for awareness. A lot of times these videos and things you're kind of looking for the scams. It's not always a scam. This wasn't a scam. So we want you to know, just because there's no scam transaction doesn't mean that you've made it to the promised land.
You should be aware that these things can happen if you end up in the wrong development. I mean, we can't share everything that you should be aware of in one video, but this particular situation was really sad.
It was, and just think, this guy's a Dominican. If you're not from the DR, you really would not be prepared to deal with anything like this. I'm sure it was hard for him to deal with it, but you a gringo and you come find yourself stuck in this. We're sharing this with you because hopefully this will give you an idea of things that can go wrong. Like we mentioned earlier, any one or two of these things, they can happen and it will be normal.
Electrical problems and street flooding or damage every once in a while, that can be considered normal. That's fine.
It is.
Right? But your home being flooded is not normal, right? Trash issues are terrible, but it could happen to you. And you would find out that it's happened in other places before too.
We know someone that's had some serious trash issues, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Oh, we also had a friend who had this issue where they hadn't collected trash in his sector for weeks. And what ended up happening is like the men kind of got together and they said, okay, well, we're just going to take turns and start taking the trash out. It was so bad that the place where they dropped the trash at, the trash was flooding over. It overtook the street. Wow. It was bringing little buggies and all types of stinky smells. And, the men just got together and said, okay, well, one Saturday I'll go with you. And then the next day you go with him. And then the next day you with him. And they all got rid of that. And then after that big trash thing was gone, the men would have to take their own trash in their cars and dump it out somewhere else because they didn't know what else to do with it. Yep.
We take it for granted that the trash truck that we curse out when it's in the way, that it's going to be there. Here, you can take it for granted too if you want to. And then you look up one day and, you got this temporary situation. It's always temporary. But what is temporary? A couple weeks and they haven't picked up the trash?
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, it can get pretty uncomfortable. It happens, but that alone is bad enough, by itself. And so, to think that you won't experience any of these things moving here to DR, that's not reality. You will experience some of the things. It's life in DR. You just hope and pray and do your best to use the knowledge that you have to not get in a situation where all of these things are happening at the same time and back to back because you ended up in the wrong place.
Right. So here's an additional tip to look out for if you're planning to buy here. When you see a property listing and there's a picture of it with amenities like, a pool, a jacuzzi, the rooftop bills that they have, don't automatically think that it's included in the price that they quoted. Even if they say it is, make sure in the contract that it's included before you sign it.
Yeah, because a lot of times when we're looking at that pool or the jacuzzi or look at that rooftop right there, and they may say, yeah, it's included. But again, we've heard from people that they got all the way down to where they were about to sign the contract to get the house, and they're like, well, wait a minute, where's the jacuzzi? Or wait a minute, where's it? And they said, oh, no, that's going to cost more.
Extra, yeah.
You already had your budget set to receive all of that for the price that they quoted. And so you walk away from it. But that takes a toll on you emotionally and all that, because a lot of times, a house is a big move, it's a big purchase. And so, you walking away feeling like they played us, or they wasted our time. Right. We could have got this other place. We were waiting on this. So, just be aware of that. I mean, the pictures look good. I mean, they really look good. We see places it's like, oh, look at that right there. Yeah. It makes sense that certain things may not be included, but when they don't tell you, how would you know? So these things happen, and like we're saying, that they'll tell you verbally, but we want you to just be aware that they'll try to hit you with the extra cost, right, when it's time to sign the contract. If you're not paying attention, you just get the house and be wondering where it's at. But here's the thing: we always say we're gonna read the contract and that we're gonna look at the fine print.
We never read the contract and look at the fine
print. Yeah. Oh, we do, but a lot of times when they're intentionally like misleading you, you're kind of like missing what they said versus what's right there and all that, because you don't go into things expecting somebody to, try to get over on you, And like I said, this isn't about scamming, but that is scammy. But then again, is it scammy when, you didn't look hard enough, you didn't, do your due diligence. So just be aware of that can happen. Don't assume, even if they tell you, make sure it's in the contract.
Right. So make sure you're not rushing to sign a contract, assuming that the amenities that they told you would be included without actually verifying that they're really there.
Exactly.
So we hope this video has helped you understand more of the things you should be aware of. I mean, I don't know how we would deal with being stuck in this poor man's situation.
I don't. I don't even know. Like, what do you do?
Right. Where do you go? Who do you speak to? Yeah, this poor man had to come on TV and do all of this, and he still doesn't have the issue resolved.
and this is years later
Yeah.
since it happened, and he's still going through the situation, And so, the main purpose of this video, like I just said a little while ago, is scams are not the only things you have to look out for. This wasn't a scam. Was it unlucky? Was it a lack of due diligence? Was it a mix of things? I think it was a mix of things. I don't know if he didn't do his due diligence, because I just don't know how you know that they're going to build a property that floods.
Right.
So, we don't know, but what we do know is there's a lot of things to consider before dropping your hard-earned money on a property that looks good in the picture or sounds good on paper.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts? I mean, there are a lot of good properties for good prices here, but it could be a little bit scary when you see some of the things that people have gone through purchasing or renting in the wrong place. So please drop your thoughts in the comments and let us know what you're thinking.
And you know what else we want you to do? We want you to like and subscribe. Love, Purpose, and Passports. Peace.